Hi, I'm Dave Vickers and welcome to the Photo Show. We're going to do another Photoshop tutorial today, and what I want to do is kind of go back to basics with Photoshop and have a look at the toolbar, exactly what all of these tools do and how you can use them within Photoshop. Now, if you've been using Photoshop for a while, you're probably very familiar with some, if not most, of the tools here, but there's always bits that you either don't use or you haven't quite got the hang of. So in this episode I thought we'd give a quick overview of what each of the tools do. We won't do a detailed look at them because that would take too long, but just a quick overview of what each of the tools are for and how you can use them to work on your images. So we'll start here at the top, and the top here we have the Move tool, and by its very definition, you use this for moving things within Photoshop. Now, if you're not on the Move tool, let's come off of that to another tool there. There's a keyboard shortcut to reach the Move tool, which is by pressing V on the keyboard. And if you see now, it's gone back to the top there, and we have our Move tool back available to use. So the Move tool in Photoshop, as the name suggests, is used for moving things around, either from within one image or from one image to another. So I've got a blank image here, just a new blank image, and if we click on our existing image here, click and hold the Move tool and drag it across into this blank image there we go, we've moved it, and by clicking and dragging we can move that image around within our blank image there. So that's really easy. That's basically what the Move tool does. If you'd copied an area out and wanted to move it from one part to the other, you could also do that with the Move tool. But that's basically what the Move tool does. You click and you drag, and it will move things around in Photoshop. Okay, so that's the Move tool. Let's come back to our original image there. And next one down is our Marquee tool. And by default this is normally set on the elliptical Marquee tool, and you can see there if we hover over that tool we get a little dialog box come up which tells us what it is, elliptical Marquee tool, and in brackets there it says M, and that's our keyboard shortcut to get to it. So if we press M, there we have our elliptical Marquee tool, and what this will allow us to do is to draw shapes on our image. So I've just copied the layer, so we're working on a separate layer there. So if I click and drag, you can see now that we're going to get an elliptical shape on the image, and let's if you click and drag within it, you can move it around. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to select this part of the car out. And now we have that. If we press Control and J, you can see now we've added another image. And what we've actually done here is, let's go back to the Move tool. So I press V. We've made a selection from that part of the image, from exactly that part of the image. But it doesn't just it doesn't only have to be used for moving areas. Let's say, for example, another option with this is if you want, with the elliptical tool, if you want a perfect circle, if you hold down Shift when you're clicking and dragging, it will draw a perfect circle. So let's get a nice circle up there. For some reason that didn't hold as a complete circle. There we go. So we've got a perfect circle. And now because we've selected that area, we can actually do anything we like within that area. So let's, for example, change the colour. So let's bring our hue and saturation level up. And now all it's going to affect is that circle area that we actually changed. So if I change the hue, you can see now that we're changing the colour, but just in that circle area that we selected using the elliptical Marquee tool. So it's really good for selecting out direct shapes from images. We'll show you, if you come again to the tool here, you can see on the elliptical Marquee tool there's a little arrow. If you click there, you now have other options within that particular tool. You have the rectangular Marquee tool, the elliptical Marquee tool, single row marquee tool, and single column marquee tool. And as the name suggests, each of these will provide you with a different shape. If we click the rectangular one there, you can see it's changed to a rectangle there, and we can now draw a rectangle out. And again, if you want to clear any selection, Control and D will clear a selection. And again, if we hold down Shift, we will now get a perfect square. So it's allowing you to select areas within certain shapes that you want, and just to concentrate on those areas. So let's say, if you wanted to just erase that part of the image, you could then just erase that part of the image. Or if you wanted to Control and J and copy that part of the image, you've now taken a complete square out of that using the Marquee tool. Next down on the list, we have our Lasso tools. And again, with the options here, you've got 3 different types of lasso tool. You've got the basic lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. And again, this is to help you make selections. So if we wanted to let's just roughly select out the car here. So if we click and start dragging, you can see it's drawing a line. And as long as I hold the mouse button down and keep dragging round, it will continue to draw that line. If we bring it back to where we started and let it go, we've now got a selection around the car. And again, we could Control and J, and we've just cut the car out from the background. So if that was what we wanted, we could turn the other 2 layers off now underneath, and we've got just the car cut out from the background there. So that's the basic lasso tool. You've then got next down. Another option here is, just to let you know, you can click there and you'll get the drop down options for each tool there. But if you're already on the tool, so you can see here that our shortcut for the lasso tool is L. So we're on the lasso tool now, and you can see it on the screen. We've got the little lasso tool icon there. If we hold down Shift and press L, it will go to the next tool. And by doing this, if you're already on the tool that you want to use, you can cycle through the options that you have within that tool set. So that's the basic lasso tool we started. Let's go to the next one now, which is the polygonal lasso tool. Let's zoom in on the image a little bit now. And what this is going to allow you to do is, instead of just freehand drawing, you're going to pick points of where you want it to go. So you'll click and start to drag, and you can see now you're getting a line drawing out. So let's click again there, and it will give us an anchor point, and it will start to follow. Difficult things like following the curve of this roof here is easier to do with the polygonal lasso than it is with other tools. So let's just say we just want to select this area out here. We'll come to there, and we'll come to there. And now we've just selected that area there. And you can see that we've got quite a good line following the roof line there. And we could have taken a lot more time and picked out more areas, a bit neater with that. So Control and D, and we'll get rid of that. And I'm going to use the Shift option, Shift and L now, to change to the next one. And you can see now we've got a little magnet. And this is our magnetic lasso. And this will help select out areas based on the fact that there's different color differences or tone differences. So if we click and drag, you can see now that it's starting to automatically follow the roof line, because it's picking out the difference between the color of the car and the color of the grass in the background. And let's just roughly just bring that background to there. And bring it in there, and see now we've made that selection. And it's done quite a good job of following the line of the car based on the tones contained within the image. So that's your lasso tools. We'll Control and D out of that. Next one down, we have our quick selection tools. And the keyboard, as you can see, if you hover over it, it says quick selection tools. In brackets, we have a keyboard shortcut of W. So let's press W on the keyboard. And now we're onto our quick selection tools. And we'll have a look here, and we've got 2 types of tools. I'm going to start with the bottom one here, the magic wand tool. And you can see when you've got it in, it looks like a little wand with a little spell area coming off it. And what this is going to do, it's going to help you make selections based on colour and tone within your image. So if I just click there on the car, it's now picked out all of the areas that are a similar colour and tone to the area I clicked. You can hold down your shift button. If you hold down the shift button, you can see a little plus appears, and that will tell you, Photoshop to add to that selection. So if I click there now, it's now added those tones into the selection. You can see here there's areas where it's not filling in, so we just keep going around like that, and it will gradually add in the extra tones that you've done. So that's the magic wand tool, and that's really good for, it's really good for selecting out things like sky and stuff like that. But where we've got different tones of orange here, it's obviously, you know, it's harder for it to pick out all of the tones. But as you can see there, it's picked out quite a lot of the tones of the car. So let's Control D that, and we're going to go back now to our other option here, which is the Quick Selection tool. And much like the Magic Wand tool, this is designed to work on colours and tones and stuff like that. So if I click and drag this across the car, you can see that it's following the colour of the car to give us a selection around the car. And to be honest, as a one click, that did a really good job. Again, if you hold down Alt, you can take areas out. That you get a little minus sign there, and it'll take sections out for you. So you can add or remove areas from the selection, and again, just by clicking and dragging, you can add back in there. So there, yeah, just as a quick option there, if I just do Control and J there, it's done not a bad job very quickly of cutting the body of the car out, because the colour of the car is uniform against the background and the rest of the image. So let's lose that one there. So they're the quick selection tools. Next up, we have our crop tools, and you will normally just use this as it is designated as a crop tool to crop your image down. At the top here you have your width and height, and you've got a bunch of different settings and options to constrain that. If we did it as a 1080 by 19, that's given us a more widescreen kind of look there, and you can pick and choose your cropped area. When you click on the image, you're going to get the grid lines up, the rule of thirds grid lines, so you can move your image around, pick and choose where you want it, move the handles in to crop the image down. So and to press enter, and there we've cropped the image down to the constraints that we set within the crop tool there. I'm going to undo that, so Control and Z will put us back to where we were. You've got another colour of options here. You've got a perspective crop tool, and here you just click and drag, and you get more options here that you can start to move and change the perspective on your crop. And there you can see it's changed it. It's looking slightly warped now. But in things like straightening up buildings and things like that, the perspective crop tool is very useful. And you've got slice tool and select tool, where you can just pick certain areas of the image to add, crop out and remove. Next one down is our eyedropper tool, and this, to select this, you just press I on the keyboard as your selection to select it as your shortcut. And now you can see we've got a little eyedropper, and let's say what we wanted to do is we wanted to sample a colour from the car here. If you look at your swatches here, my swatches are set to the default with black on the foreground and white on the background. So if I bring the eyedropper over and click somewhere on the car, you can now see that the foreground colour has changed to the colour that we selected within the image. We can go again, let's go up here to the grass and do the green, and it's changed to that colour in the green. We've got a bit of blue on the sign there, and it's picked that out. So this is for selecting colours within an image if you want to select the exact shade of a certain part of an area, that's what the eyedropper tool is for. And again, we've got other options here. Next one down is the color sampler tool. So if you wanted to know the exact color values of any particular area, let's click in there, and you'll get this little dialog box up there, and you can see here we've got a little number 1 there with our selection, and here we have the hashtag 1, and that's giving us the exact red, green and blue values for that color right there. So that's giving us all of the information from that, and if you look up here, as we move that around, we're getting different values in the reds, greens and blues. Let's come up to blue there, and you can see it's changing the values there, but from that area there, this is giving us the exact color reference for that part of the car. Let's get rid of that one. Next on this list you have the ruler tool, and this is again a tool. It's much more used in design rather than photography. Let's say you wanted to measure the wheelbase on this image of the car. Click there, sorry, click and drag from one wheel nut to the other. And up here it's going to give you the width that measurement is within the image. So we Control Z that. I don't know how to get rid of it. Clear. That's it at the top. Clear to get rid of that. And the last one within this section is note. So let's say that there's more than one of you working on an image. You've done what you wanted and you're passing it on to somebody else, and you want to leave them a note of what you want done. Let's say we want this road cone here removed. Click there. It's going to give us a little notepad icon there, and we've got a little dialog box here. Let's say we say remove road cone, and now we've got that little option there. Put that back to where it was, and if you click on the note, double click on it, and it will come up and say exactly what that note was for. So we delete that out. We don't need that. Yes, delete the note. Okay, so that's the first section taken care of, and these are basically your selection tools. These are all helping you select areas of your image. So the first 6 here are all selection tools. Next down we have our healing brush tool. I'm going to make another layer so we've got something to work on. Get rid of the note there. So healing brush, we've done these in other episodes, but again you've got a keyboard shortcut of J to select your healing brush, and we've got various different types. We've got spot healing brush, patch tool, content aware move tool, and the red eye tool. So spot healing brush tool, I'm going to zoom in on this image first off. Let's pick something that we want to remove from here. So let's come up to the front of the car here, and we've kind of got a little blemishy area here. So if I press J, we've got our spot healing brush tool. If I just click on that once, you can see that's taken it away and it's removed it from the car. And that's basically how the spot healing brush works. We can do it there with the badge on the front of the car as well. Take that off, put it back in. Next one down is your healing brush, which works in a very similar way, except you need to sample an area first beforehand. If you just click on it, it's going to say Alt-click to define a source point used to repair the image. Click OK. So if we hold there, because it's a similar shade to what we're doing, hold down Alt, click to select, come across, and you can see one click and it's covered it over. I would always, I think, use the spot healing brush more than I would the straight healing brush, because it has that automatic quality where it will adjust the images for you, adjust the fix for you. Next we have the patch tool, and what we're doing with the patch tool here is, for example, we've got this road cone here. Let's say we want to take this out quickly, so we click and drag to make a selection around the road cone, And there we've made a selection. Now if we click within that, as soon as we move inside, you can see we've got an arrow that tells us we can move this. So if we click and drag that along, line it up, let it go, Photoshop will do its magic, and there you go. It's removed the road cone. Let's look at the previous layer. There it is there, and it's taken it out there. So let's Control Z that and come back, put that back in. So that's the patch tool. Next one down to it is the content aware move tool, and this kind of does not the opposite to the patch tool, but let's say we wanted this road cone, but we don't want it there, we want it up here. So if we click and drag around the road cone there, come within and then click along, you can see we're moving the road cone along, let it go, and Photoshop will work out what should have been there. And you can see now that we've actually moved the road cone along using the content aware tool. Yes, it's not done a perfect job. You can see it hasn't quite lined up the lines there, but that's where it was, that's where it is. That's where it was, that's where it is. And that's the content aware tool for you. It's really good, you know, if you wanted to, you know, move something from one part to another in an image, it's a really good tool for using for that. Next one down, we have our red eye tool. Now, as the name suggests, this is for fixing red eye. And in case you don't know, red eye is caused when your flash gun and your lens are in line with each other. Because light travels in straight lines, it normally happens in low light situations when people's pupils are wide open. And the light from the flash gun is actually reflecting off of the retina, the blood cells in the retina in the back of the eye. And because light travels in straight lines, that reflection comes straight back down the lens, and it gives you the red eye look that you get in images. Now, obviously, we haven't got any red eye in this, so I've got another image here, taken of Jonathan Ross years ago, and you can see we've got a bit of red eye because this was shot at quite a distance on a long lens. So let's zoom in a little bit and show you how we can use the red eye tool. You can see it was actually shot on film, so it's quite grainy, and we're going to select our red eye tool. And you can see now we've got an eye with a little cross in it. If we come to his pupil and just click on the pupil, there we go. And we do it on the other one. And there we've cured the red eye in 2 clicks. So it's a really simple tool, really handy to use, and you'll probably get a lot of use out of that.